Hello everyone, warm welcome to Super Coaching Regulatory Bodies YouTube channel by Testbook. Before I start, I'm really very sorry for starting the session late by almost 12 minutes. There was some technical glitch because of which I was not able to go live, but I guess now everything is fine. So before we start the discussion, may I have a reply in the comment section that I'm audible, visible, everything is fine, we are good to go, so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. And unfortunately, I was not able to share the link of this session with you all guys, and I'm pretty sure that you must have shared the link with your friends. If you haven't, then let's quickly collectively copy the link and share it with all our known ones so that more and more students they can join us live in this particular session. So quickly guys, copy the link, share it with your friends so that many of the students they can get to know that yes, finally the session is live. There was some technical glitch, now it has been resolved. So today I have many important news, and one of the news from which I will be starting the discussion, it has a potential to be asked in almost all the regulatory bodies, or for that matter all the bank exams which are going to appear in the near future. So next news, the first news of this particular session is really very important. So let's get started without any further delay. So first of all guys, if you want to download the PDF of this particular session, the PDF of this particular session will be available on my Telegram channel. The link is on the screen. That means you can just you can just open up your cameras, scan this QR code in order to reach out to the Telegram channel to download the PDF. And I hope you all know very well that I provide you both the PDFs, annotated PDF as well as without annotation. So it's your will, your requirement, whatsoever you can follow. Chalo ji. So here we go with the first news of the session. The first news of the session talks about the strategic sale of IDBI Bank to be completed by October 2025. Before I start the discussion on this particular topic, I hope you all have gone through with the session on budget 2025-26. This session was conducted on our platform, and I'm pretty sure you must have watched that session. In that particular session, it was very clearly discussed that government has announced disinvestment. Government has announced disinvestment receipts. That means receipts which government is going to receive through disinvestment, that is by selling out the government assets, and it is targeted to be, what is the target for 2025-26? Sir, its target is 47,000 crore rupees. See, whenever we talk about the point where government is in a position to raise the funds from the public, so whenever government is borrowing the funds from the public, we call it as credit or liability receipts. But on the other side, if government is raising the funds through disinvestment, that means by selling its asset, we call it as non-debt receipts of the government. So for financial year 2025-26, government has set a target that government would be raising 47,000 crore rupees by selling government owned assets in order to ease out its fiscal deficit, in order to ease out its huge borrowings, as well as the interest payment which has to be done on every month, which has to be done every year. So keeping the same context in mind, government has announced the disinvestment not only for IDBI, the disinvestment has been announced for SBI as well as other public sector banks, which I will be discussing in this session itself. But before I start my discussion on SBI and public sector banks, let's talk about IDBI Bank. I hope you all have heard about Industrial Development Bank of India. We can call it as one of the previous development institution of the country. It would have been included in the category of All India Financial Institutes, but right now it is not in the list. Why it is not in the list, how IDBI has evolved over the period of time, I will be discussing that, don't worry. But let's first discuss this particular news. If I talk about this particular news, I hope you all are very well aware that majority shareholding of IDBI is with government owned company, that is LIC. So Government of India as well as LIC, they have announced or they have come up with the expression of interest that they are willing to sell out around 60% of the IDBI shareholding, and the 60% of the shareholding belongs 30%, almost 30% to the government and almost 30% to LIC. So let's get started with the news. So what does the news say? The strategic sale of IDBI Bank is likely to be conducted or likely to be completed by October 2025. The point is strategic sale. What do you understand by the word strategic sale, or what do you understand by the word strategic disinvestment? So whenever this word is used, that is strategic disinvestment, it basically means when government is not only selling majority shares of the company, government is also transferring the management. So whenever government sell out the majority shares of its company, or government sell out the majority share of public sector undertaking, as well as government transfers the management, that process is known as strategic disinvestment. And as per the recent announcement, this strategic disinvestment in IDBI is expected to be completed by the month of October 2025. So government has discussed the share purchase agreement which will be given to the bidder putting in financial bids. So government has decided that what will be the share purchase price, and if bidder is ready, then the bidder, those who are shortlisted, they will be bidding the share amount and they will be purchasing it. Now the question is, sir, bidding, purchasing the share, iska kya matlab hua? Not the IDBI shares will be openly sold to the public. No, sir. IDBI shares will not be openly sold to the public. It will be sold, or this disinvestment is going to be done with the help of qualified institutional investor. So whenever we talk about the disinvestment, or whenever we talk about the selling of shares, the selling of shares can be done by directly issuing the shares to the public, which we call it as public issue. But when you are issuing the shares to the qualified institutional buyers, you call that issuing as qualified institutional placement. So this qualified institutional placement will be done for IDBI, and this entire qualified institutional placement will turn IDBI as a private bank, because more than 50% of its shareholding will be into the hands of the private investors. And this expression of interest by Government of India as well as LIC was presented back in financial year 2022-23, where they have come up that we are willing to sell collectively. Government and LIC, they were collectively willing to sell 60% of their shareholding, 30% will be government share dissolving, and 30% of LIC share will be dissolved. What are the objectives behind this sale? So to complete the strategic disinvestment of IDBI and to boost non-debt capital received. So in order to boost up the government's non-debt capital received, this disinvestment has been announced. What is the duration? So this sale process has already taken almost 3 years, and yet it is not completed, but it is expected that it will be completed. It is expected that it will be completed by which year? Sir, it will be completed by October 2025. There are certain key points which you need to remember. India state-owned bank will raise around 450 billion rupees, that is around 45,000 crore rupees. So this 45,000 crore rupees will be raised through the qualified institutional placement of the shares in the 2025-26 financial year. So in the current financial year, it is expected that India's state-owned banks, that means government-owned banks, they will be raising around 45,000 crore rupees in the given financial year. The sale process is advancing with the draft share purchasing agreement. So this draft share purchasing agreement has been signed, has been approved, and it will be signed by the prospective buyers, and then the prospective buyers will participate in the process of bidding. So ये जो Department of Investment and Public Asset Management है, it has already received multiple requests from different buyers who are ready or who are willing to purchase or who are willing to buy the shares of IDBI, but out of those requests, only 3 are shortlisted. One is Fairfax India Holding, then we have Emirates MBD and Kotak Mahindra Bank. These are the 3 institutes which have been shortlisted, and these 3 institutes will participate the bidding process, and through the bidding they will be purchasing the shares of IDBI. Total 60% of the IDBI shares are going to be diluted. Moving on to the next point, the government may provide assurance in the share purchase agreement, ensuring that the potential buyer will have free hand in running the bank, including ability to change the management. So our government is saying that if government shareholding will drop below 51%, then obviously the private investors who are going to invest their funds in this particular bank, they will have the capability, they will have the power, they will have the capability, they will have the power to run the bank, and even they will be given the power, if they want, they can even change the entire management of the bank. But there is a condition which you need to remember. The condition says the Banking Regulation Act 1949 restricts voting rights of a shareholder in a bank to 26% even if they own more shares. So it says that, let's suppose there is a shareholder in a bank with shareholding around 40%, but at the time of voting, this shareholder will have a majority vote or highest vote or maximum voting percentage of 26% only. That is as per the act, which I will be discussing shortly. The deal aims to help government to meet 47,000 crores. So as I said, government has, what is the government budget target? So the government this year budget target is 47,000 crore rupees, which is ought to be achieved this year by disinvestment, by diluting government's own asset. The next point, which is again important, this deal is the largest deal till now in the banking, financial services and insurance sector, and this is the second largest overall deal after Flipkart Walmart deal. So after Flipkart Walmart deal, when Walmart has acquired Flipkart, in a similar manner, this is the second largest deal till date, or the first largest deal in the banking, financial services and insurance sector, with a 60% dilution of shares which are owned by none other than LIC and Government of India. समझ आ गई सारी स्टोरी? I hope the entire story is clear to you. अब इसमें 2 चीजें हैं which I would like to discuss with you in much detail. So what all things I would like to discuss with you in much detail, जिसके बारे में आपको जरूर पता होना चाहिए. पहला तो ये 26% वाला क्या क्लॉज है, क्यों है ये 26% वाला क्लॉज, we'll discuss that. After that, I'll discuss that IDBI is not the only bank in which the disinvestment is going to be done in this financial year. We have one of the domestic systematically important bank in which we can expect the disinvestment done by the government, and the other public sector banks. I will be sharing their names. After that, I will be discussing the entire story of IDBI. IDBI कैसे बना, फिर कैसे वो एक डेवलपमेंट बैंक से या फर्स्ट डेवलपमेंट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया से बन गया प्राइवेटली ओन्ड कमर्शियल बैंक. तो फर्स्ट डेवलपमेंट बैंक से लेकर प्राइवेटली ओन्ड कमर्शियल बैंक तक की क्या जर्नी रही IDBI की, I will be discussing that. Are you ready, guys? I hope this basic news which I have discussed with you is crystal clear. If it is clear, give me a thumbs up, give me yes sir. Now I will be discussing 3 things. Pehla, 26% wala clause. Second, I will be discussing the public sector banks in which we are expecting disinvestment which is ought to be done, and then I will discuss how first development bank of the country turned into scheduled commercial bank. ठीक है जी? Okay, moving on to the next point. The next point is 26% wala clause. Banking Regulation Act 1949, as per the section it says very clearly, what it says, that no shareholder of a banking company other than central government shall exercise voting rights in respect of any shares held by him in excess of such percentage as may be specified by RBI, which shall not exceed 26% voting rights of all shareholders of the banking company. Is this point clear? इसका मतलब क्या है? इसका मतलब है RBI has the power to allow voting rights up to 26%. No shareholder other than government can exercise more than 26% voting rights even if their equity holding is above 26%. Now the question is, sir, why this rule was introduced? What was the logic? So this rule was introduced in order to prevent excessive concentration, of control in one private shareholder's hand. Second is corporate capture of the banking system. So in order to avoid corporate capture of the banking system, in order to avoid excessive concentration of control in one private shareholder's hand, and lastly, risk to financial stability and public confidence in the banking sector where public deposit their hard earned money. समझ आ गई बात? तो अगली बार अगर कोई पूछे, the maximum voting right to a particular entity in a bank is 26% regardless of the shareholding. Why this rule has been done? So this rule was introduced under Banking Regulation Act 1949 in order to avoid excessive concentration of control in one private shareholder, to avoid corporate capture of the banking sector, as well as to prevent risk to financial stability and public confidence in the banking sector. This initiative has been taken. This rule and regulation has been introduced. Clear, guys? Is it fine? Is it clear? Shall I move ahead? Moving on to the second point which I am supposed to discuss. Again, really very important कि भैया पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स की क्या स्टोरी है. अगर मैं पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स की स्टोरी बताऊं तो पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स के ऊपर काफी बड़ा प्रोजेक्शन है गवर्नमेंट का, और गवर्नमेंट is projecting to raise around 45,000 crore rupees by diluting its stake in public sector banks. Public sector bank means government owned banks. Right now, if I talk about public sector banks, we have SBI plus 11 nationalized banks. Nationalized bank means those banks which were earlier private banks, later on they were purchased by Government of India. So in total, government owned banks in India is 12, and out of these 12 banks, many banks are going to witness sale of government's share, dilution of government shareholding. The highest dilution of the government shareholding, or the highest fund, will be raised through SBI. That means the largest lender, that is SBI, will head the fundraising drive, and it is expected that government will raise around 20,000 crore rupees through qualified institutional placement by selling or by diluting government owned shares in which banks? So that is State Bank of India. But not only the State Bank of India, we have some more banks which include 5 other public sector banks like Bank of Maharashtra, Indian Overseas Bank, UCO Bank, Central Bank of India, Punjab and Sindh Bank. They have been shortlisted. And even government will try to achieve the SEBI criteria, that is minimum public shareholding in a public sector company should be 25%. So Bank of Maharashtra will hold or will achieve this mark of 25% minimum shareholding with the public by this financial year. But Indian Overseas Bank, UCO Bank, or maybe Central Bank and Punjab and Sindh Bank, they will be achieving the target by August 2026. Is this point clear, guys? समझ आया? तो यहाँ पे आपको conclusion में अगर मैं बताऊं तो क्या क्या चीजें important है. In terms of conclusion, you need to remember गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया जो कि पहले बात कर रही थी प्राइवेटाइजेशन ऑफ पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स की, बट ड्यू टू द गुड प्रॉफिट्स द पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स दे हैव अर्नड इन द पास्ट, इट्स क्वाइट ऑब्वियस कि अब इनका प्राइवेटाइजेशन करने का कोई मतलब नहीं है, सेल 100% शेयर होल्डिंग को डाइल्यूट करने का कोई मतलब नहीं है. बट ऑन द अदर साइड, इफ योर कंपनी इज अर्निंग गुड प्रॉफिट, that means your company's shares are all time high. So this is the right time to hit the hammer if you want to raise or if you want to dilute your shares in order to raise maximum return. तो गवर्नमेंट भी उसी दिमाग के साथ चल रही है. गवर्नमेंट कह रही है कि भैया हमारे जो बैंक्स हैं इन्होंने हाईएस्ट प्रॉफिट रिकॉर्ड किया लास्ट फाइनेंशियल ईयर में, एंड दिस इज द राइट टाइम कि हम अपनी कंपनी के शेयर्स को बेचें ताकि ज्यादा से ज्यादा फंड्स हम रेज कर पाए इन ऑर्डर टू काउंटर आवर फिस्कल डेफिसिट, इन ऑर्डर टू काउंटर आवर एक्सेसिव expenditure or excessive borrowings which are done. तो सबसे ज्यादा जो फंड रेजिंग होगी that will be done from SBI, and secondly we have 5 other banks which include Bank of Maharashtra, Indian Overseas Bank, we have Central Bank of India, we have UCO Bank, and we have Punjab and Sindh Bank, जिनमें ये शेयर्स को गवर्नमेंट के शेयर्स को क्या किया जाएगा, डाइल्यूट किया जाएगा, एंड ऑल द डाइल्यूशन विल बी डन थ्रू QIPs, that is qualified institutional placement. यहाँ पे पब्लिक को ओपनली शेयर्स इशू नहीं किए जाएंगे. Here the shareholding will be done, or the shares will be sold out with the help of, shares will be sold out with the help of what? Sir, it will be sold out with the help of QIPs for SBI. लेकिन दूसरी तरफ अगर मैं बाकी के ये 5 बैंक्स की बात करूं तो इन 5 बैंक्स के लिए जो शेयर इशूइंग है that will be done to the public through offer for sale, क्योंकि सेबी ने एक रूल निकाला कि in a public sector company at least 25% of the shareholding must be given to the public, और इस टारगेट को अचीव करने के लिए for these 5 banks shares will be issued openly to the public through offer for sale, and Bank of Maharashtra will achieve this target by this financial year, and rest of the banks will achieve the target of 25% by the next financial year. समझ आ गया? Easy, no doubt. Is it fine? If it is clear, just give me yes, sir. No doubt. If it is clear, just give me yes, sir, so that I can move on to the next point, and the next point is again really very important. Just give me yes, sir, quickly. Okay. अब अगला पॉइंट बहुत ध्यान से सुनना. I hope guys you must have heard this word IDBI, Industrial Development Bank of India. अब जब भी कभी हम इस बैंक की बात करते हैं, Industrial Development Bank of India, by the name only it is clear that it is a development bank. By the name only it is clear that it is a development bank. तो ऐसा क्या हुआ कि कहानी बहुत चेंज हो गई? So please pay attention. You know what? Industrial Development Bank of India was the first development bank of India. It was the first development bank of India which was set up under the Parliamentary Act, which was set up under the Parliamentary Act 1963, and it started its operation in 1964. And when it was set up under the ownership of RBI. That means it was owned by RBI. And this was the bank which was responsible for performing the development functions for the industrial sector. जैसे कि आज की डेट में हमारे पास NABARD है, which is responsible for the development of agriculture and rural sector. जैसे कि आज की डेट में we have SEBI, which is responsible for the development of small, medium enterprises in a similar manner. In order to develop the entire industrial sector, the first development bank of the country was set up. That was IDBI. So IDBI was the first development bank, and उस समय there was a great need of these development banks so that they can focus on the specific sector, and the specific sector development can be done. Then in 1976, the ownership of IDBI was transferred from RBI to Government of India. Its ownership was transferred from RBI to Government of India. फिर later on 1995 में this bank went public. That means it has issued its IPO, it has issued its shares in the public. जैसे इसने अपने shares को public में issue किया, after that there was a scenario that IDBI is a bank which has started setting up its branches all over the country, and it has a good decent presence by the time in the country. So why not we should use these branches not only to provide development functions but also to provide profitable functions. So a new segment was opened up which was named as same, that is IDBI, but it was what? Sir, it was a commercial bank along with development bank. तो IDBI एक था जो कि development bank का काम कर रहा था, और same logo, सब कुछ same. There was one more bank floated, IDBI commercial bank, and this IDBI commercial bank was floated, and it has received it has received a title of schedule bank by RBI in 2004. तो 2004 में उसे शेड्यूल बैंक का टाइटल भी दे दिया. फिर उसके बाद डिसाइड किया गया कि क्यों ना डेवलपमेंट बैंक और कमर्शियल बैंक को दोनों को मर्ज किया जाए, एंड दे हैव बीन मर्ज्ड इन 2005. व्हाई दे हैव बीन मर्ज्ड इन 2005, उसका भी रीजन है. बिकॉज इन 1990 under the headship of IDBI, SEBI was set up. So SEBI was set up as a subsidiary of IDBI. Later on, it was recognized that SEBI can work directly under the government of India. It can work directly under the government of India rather than operating under IDBI, and there is no need to run two different development banks for the same part of or for the same sector. So finally, it was decided that IDBI is no more required to be run as a development bank. Its functions can be performed by SEBI. So finally in 2005 IDBI का जो development bank wing था, it was merged with the commercial bank. In 2005 में IDBI became full-fledged commercial bank. तो फिर 2018 में IDBI के जो 51% से ज़्यादा शेयर होल्डिंग थी, that was overtaken by LIC, and since then it has been treated as private sector bank. Since then it has been treated as private sector bank. तो ये जो acquisition था, that was completed in January 2019, और तब से लेकर अब तक we call IDBI as a development bank, as a private commercial bank. क्यों? क्योंकि सर IDBI earlier it was owned by government of India. Later on its majority shares are not owned directly by government of India but by the organization or but by the government owned organization. तो इस वजह से we were not calling IDBI as a commercial bank or as a government owned commercial bank. It was termed as private commercial bank. और अब finally 2022-23 में there was a expression of interest to dilute 60% of the shareholding, and by 2025 it will become 100%, or it will become not 100%, but it will become private bank, and majority shareholding will not be even with government as well as not with the LIC. कहानी समझ आई? So please pay attention. Right now IDBI is a scheduled commercial bank which is jointly owned by LIC as well as government of India. It was set up by RBI in 1964 as a development financial institute. So 1976 ownership transferred to government of India. 1995 stake reduced to 75% after public issue. 2003-2004 recognition as scheduled bank, merger, LIC acquisition, March 2021. Acha haan. After that IDBI was even included under the category of prompt corrective action, and in March 2021 IDBI was taken out of, or it has exit the prompt corrective action which is announced by RBI. How many of you know about prompt corrective action? Guys, prompt corrective action basically, what is it? So prompt corrective action is basically a proactive measure taken by RBI. In case of prompt corrective action, it is a corrective measure which is ought to be taken by RBI in order to avoid insolvency or bank run in near future. मतलब क्या हुआ कि RBI चाहता है that RBI should identify or RBI should check the financial health of the banks on regular basis, and if any bank is not doing well, then that bank should be included under the category of PCA, and certain restrictions should be applied or implemented on the given bank in order to avoid further degradation of the financial health. So in this case we have three parameters. One is capital to risk weighted asset ratio, along with that net NPA as well as leverage ratio. So on the basis of these three parameters, bank's financial health is reviewed, and if bank cross any one of the threshold limit, then it will be declared as risk threshold 1, risk threshold 2, or maybe risk threshold 3, and depending upon the category in which bank is falling down, that on the basis of that particular category, restrictions will be applied on the bank. I hope you know that. So PCA is not only applicable on banks, it is also applicable now on NBFCs. As per 1st October 2024, PCA is applicable on government owned banks as well. sorry, on government owned NBFCs as well. So remember that currently LIC is holding around 49.24% shares, Government of India around 45% share, and 5% share is with the public. But after this dilution, the shareholding will fall down. What is the reason? So there was high non-performing asset due to which LIC has taken over IDBI. There was low capital adequacy due to which this acquisition was done. So LIC acquired 51%, controlling stake, becoming the majority shareholder. But right now, LIC is the highest shareholder, but it is not more than 51%. It is 49.24% as per the latest data. समझ आ गई बात? Clear हो गया point? So PCA is a very important concept. If a question is asked, you should be in a position to answer it. PCA on banking sector as well as PCA on NBFCs, especially 1st October 2024. You need to remember this because since this date, PCA is applicable on government owned NBFCs as well. It is applicable on government owned NBFCs as well. Sorted, guys? Clear? Is it clear? Just give me yes, sir, so that I can move on to the next news. So from this particular news, you can expect 3 or 4 different formats of questions, and I'm pretty sure you will be able to answer if all those 3-4 types of questions are asked in the examination. Then there is a news which is more feasible, which is expected to be asked in phase 1, that is related to one of the largest AI chip production company, that is NVIDIA. So NVIDIA reaches historic 4 trillion market capitalization. So NVIDIA has set the record. It became the world's first publicly listed company to achieve a market valuation of $4 trillion. This milestone cements NVIDIA's position as global leader in ongoing AI and computing revolution. Remember that if I talk about this particular company, this company is powered almost 90% of AI chips used in data centers worldwide. So AI chips which are used in data centers worldwide, 90% of these chips come from the same company. These chips are used to train and operate large language models like ChatGPT. Its graphic processing units are essential for AI modeling training, simulation, and real-time analysis. What is important for you? One point which is important is in March 2025, this company has launched next generation Blackwell Ultra AI chips. These chips, they are superior AI reasoning speed, enhanced real-time experience, improved efficiency in high performance computing. So remember that the target customer of this company is data centers, cloud giants, research institutions, enterprise AI users, and whatnot. Now, if I talk about the top 3 most valued companies of the world, then the first one is the company which has crossed the mark of $4 trillion. Second one is Microsoft, $3.75 trillion. And on the third rank, we have Apple, that is on third rank with $3.17 trillion. So remember the name of the company, remember the mark which has been crossed, $4 trillion. And remember that this is one of the company which is in limelight due to the AI chips production as well as its high demand in the current market. Moving on to the next news. The next news talks about global recognition for India in medtech. What is this medtech? So medtech is basically related to medicine and technology. So let's try to understand what is the news. So the news is World Health Innovation Forum. This World Health Innovation Forum, it is located in Andhra Pradesh medtech zone. Andhra Pradesh medtech zone. The way we have self-economic zone, in a similar manner we have we have a medtech zone. I'll discuss in detail what is this medtech zone. So Andhra Pradesh medtech zone in Visakhapatnam, it was selected as the only global initiative to join BRICS plus manufacturing working group. So यहाँ पे आपके पास 3-4 क्वेश्चन बन जाते हैं. BRICS plus manufacturing working group, what is it? What is AMTZ? that is Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone. What is it? Then the next point is, what is this World Health Innovation Forum? So I'll discuss all of them one by one so that if any question is asked with this respect, you will be in a position to answer it. So the first thing is WHIF, that is World Health Innovation Forum, makes World Health Innovation Forum the first and the only health innovation forum to be the part of high-level intergovernmental initiative, that is BRICS plus manufacturing working group. So BRICS plus manufacturing working group, as BRICS countries, they evolved from resource-driven to innovation-driven economies. These arose a need to develop domestic manufacturing capacity in order to depend on imports, enhance global competitiveness so that they can become the active member in the foreign trade, reduce dependency on Western countries or developed nations for industrial technologies, as well as address post-COVID supply chain vulnerabilities in order to enhance the supply chain within the BRICS nations as well, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. It basically focuses on joint manufacturing, technology sharing, innovation, industrial innovation, and especially industrial innovation in the strategic industry. So if someone asks you what are the objectives of this BRICS manufacturing working group, then I would say it would result in policy harmonization. It would result in policy harmonization among the BRICS nations and the other members. It will help the BRICS nations to work jointly on manufacturing projects. It will help these nations to collaborate for research and development purpose. It will help in localization of supply chain. That means rather than depending on Western nations, we should depend on BRICS nations only. It will help in transfer of skill and technology, as well as it will increase South-South cooperation. So why this inclusion is important for India? So this inclusion is important because India-based company, that is World Health Innovation Forum, has been included in the BRICS plus manufacturing working group. This is important for India. What is its strategic importance for India? So it will boost India's position not only as a consumer. अभी तक BRICS में क्या पूरे world में India is seen as one of the important consumer. But the moment one of the innovation forum from India has become the part of this organization, it will showcase that India is not only a consumer of global medical technologies, but it is also creator and leader of healthcare innovation. Second is products will be designed, developed and manufactured in global south, especially in India. So these products which are going to be designed, developed and manufactured, majority of their manufacturing will be done in India itself, and it will put Visakhapatnam on the map of global medtech hub. So these are the strategic benefits of inclusion of WHIF in BRICS plus manufacturing working group. Now the question is, sir, ये क्या है WHIF? World Health Innovation Forum is an initiative which is aimed at fostering global collaboration in health technology innovation, especially for low and middle income countries. It is located in AMTZ and it connects government, academia, industry, startups to solve healthcare challenges through cutting edge research, cross-border cooperation and health tech entrepreneurship. So that is why this is important. Last point is ये क्या है? That is Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone. If I talk about Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone, what does it basically means or how we can define it so that you can understand this, then my answer would be, so this Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone is Asia's first medical technology manufacturing park in Visakhapatnam. It provides infrastructure and support services for designing, developing, as well as for developing a prototype, testing, certification and mass manufacturing of medical devices. Facilities include India's first dedicated medical device testing lab is there. 3D printing centers, electronic labs and regulatory compliance support is available, as well as it is a global global is to reduce medical device imports. So its basic goal is to reduce the medical device imports, decrease the cost of these medical devices, and make India self-dependent in medical technology. So this is the ultimate goal of setting up Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone. Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone. Moving on to the last news, second last news of the day. Second last news is related to penalty. Which penalty I'm talking about? So I'm talking about the penalty which has been announced by RBI. So RBI has announced penalty on two organizations. The first one I have for you is one of the leading banks of the country. It is also the domestic systematically important bank of the nation, that is HDFC Bank. So HDFC Bank has witnessed a penalty of 4.88 lakh rupees. Why this penalty was charged? So this penalty was charged related to foreign investment norms. So while providing term loan, the bank did not followed the guidelines related to foreign investment related transactions, and because of which this penalty has been charged. RBI has placed strict rules on capital flows and FDI in order to ensure proper monitoring of overseas financial exposure. So HDFC has not followed the norms set by RBI related to foreign investment as well as related to the loan sanctioning or term loan sanctioning as per the guidelines. So 4.88 lakh crore rupees of penalty has been charged. Second penalty has been charged on Shriram Finance. This penalty has charged because Shriram Finance has breached digital lending norms. Nature of offences: loan repayment were routed through non-compliant accounts, violating norms issued to ensure transparency and accountability, for which penalty has been imposed of value 2.70 lakh rupees. तो आपको क्या याद रखना है? You must remember the penalty value, you must remember the reason, you must remember the reason, you must remember the penalty value, that's it. लेकिन कभी आपने सोचा, have you ever given a thought कि HDFC बैंक पे 5 लाख रुपए की पेनल्टी, श्रीराम फाइनेंस पे 3 लाख रुपए की पेनल्टी, is it going to impact these organizations? No. इन ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस पे कोई फाइनेंशियल इंपैक्ट तो होगा नहीं. सो व्हाट इज द पॉइंट, व्हाट इज द ऑब्जेक्टिव behind charging these penalties by RBI? So let's check out for the very first time on the YouTube platform. आज तक हर बार बस इतना पढ़ाया गया कि क्यों RBI पेनल्टी चार्ज करता है, लेकिन किसी ने ये नहीं बताया कि उसके पीछे का थॉट क्या है. I know that bank has done something wrong, you charge penalty, but what is the point of charging 5 lakh rupees on HDFC, which is just a peanut, not even a peanut for HDFC. Even if I conclude or even if I take in consideration of HDFC profit, still it is not even a peanut. So in that particular case, what is the benefit? So let's try to understand what is the objective. So the objective is promote compliance with financial norms. How you will promote compliance? If you are charging a penalty, the announcement will be made, and this announcement will result public awareness, it will result market awareness, and everyone will be aware that HDFC is not doing well, HDFC is not fulfilling RBI norms, and if that is a scenario, public confidence in the HDFC will decrease. This will undoubtedly force the banks and BFCs to fulfill the norms. Otherwise, decrease in public confidence means reputation risk, which will result in losses to a bank. Ensure consumer protection, especially in digital lending, deter similar violation by other institutions, maintain trust in the Indian banking and NBFC ecosystem. RBI's classification, the violation did not impact. RBI अपने मुंह से कहता है, RBI says that these violations, these penalties, they are not going to impact the overall financial health of the institute or the credit worthiness of the institute, but RBI stresses that enforcement action is essential to ensure accountability, ताकि सबको पता चले, फिर वो better risk management हो, and it will result in discipline across the regulated entities, so that the regulated entities, they know कि अगर भैया हमने RBI के norms को fulfill नहीं किया, RBI will charge penalty, and that penalty will hamper our reputation in the market, which will result in low profit capacity. Last news of the day is India and Namibia sign licensing agreement to deploy UPI like payment system. So what is this? In order to enhance digital financial infrastructure in Namibia, deploying India's UPI technology will be done, promoting real-time digital payment, advancing financial inclusion, and strengthen India and Namibia digital corporation. So what are the key highlights? The key highlights include, first one, global first. This country has become the first country in the world to sign licensing agreement with India's NPCI to adopt UPI platform. Signing parties involved the foreign wing or the international wing of NPCI, that is NPCI International Payment Limited, and the other one is BON. Purpose is modernize the financial infrastructure in the signing country, which will enable real-time P2P as well as P2M payments, tech development tech deployment, first deployment of UPI stack via licensing model in a foreign central bank. With a foreign central bank, it is done by India, which is a good call, and this put India as one of the important nation in the digital payment scenario. Social impact, it supports underserved as well as remote communities, reduces cash reliance, that is dependence on the cash, and it will empower inclusive economic growth. If I talk about the importance with respect to India, Sir, India is positioned as a leader in the digital payment diplomacy. It encourages cashless economy and fintech development in the given nation. And obviously, अगर हम UPI develop कर रहे हैं तो हमारी companies ही majorly जाकर वहाँ perform करेंगी. Strategic relation means boost India or India's influence not only in one country, but it will impact or it will raise India's importance in the entire Africa, which may witness more and more signing of these kind of agreements in different countries. Then it will mark as major milestone for UPI global expansion. And remember that inclusive growth, it will help Namibia in delivering accessible digital services to rural as well as underserved population. इतना ही नहीं, ये जब न्यूज आई, ये न्यूज क्यों आई, उसके पीछे का रीजन क्या है? सर, इस न्यूज के पीछे का रीजन है विजिट. किसकी विजिट? प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स विजिट. सो प्राइम मिनिस्टर वाज ऑन अ विजिट. He was on a 5-nation tour, and in that particular tour, PM Modi was awarded with order of the most ancient well-wisher, that is the Namibia's highest civilian honor, and this has the 27th international award till date received by PM Narendra Modi ji, and this is the 4th during his visit in the 5-nation. So during his 5-nation tour, this agreement was signed, which is a good move not only for India but for the signing nation as well as for the entire continent, that is Africa, which is opening up African continent for investment purposes, especially for the Indian fintech industries. Is it clear, guys? So this is all for today's session. I hope each and every point which has been discussed is clear. I will be catching you all in the upcoming sessions to go. Good luck. God bless you all, and do share your feedbacks in the comment section. If you have any doubt, you can ask, please. Else you can ask your doubts in the comment section if you are watching this session in a recorded form, and you can download the PDF in annotated format as well as without annotation on the same group, on the same Telegram channel. Thank you so much. Don't forget to hit the like button before leaving. No. SBI is not going to be privatized. Government is not going to dilute its shares below 51%. Government will be holding more than 51% shareholding in SBI, and SBI will not be privatized. Only and only its shares will be sold out, or government shareholding will be sold out to raise the funds. That is the only point. Okay. Thank you so much. Good luck. God bless.